everybody doing? How's everybody doing? Oh shit. Hang on a sec. Give me a second here. Hope everybody. It's kind of a miserable day today. It's not bad weather. It's just not happy weather. Oh my God, Miss Sheldon has got nice looking hair today. Oh, okay. Hang on. What I'm gonna do is, oh, that looks new. Give me 1 second. Okay, we're gonna go to the fifth one. This might be the fifth one. I'm not sure. Yep, Act 5. Okay, give me 1 second. What I'm gonna do is, okay. This might not work. If I don't already have it, it's Tubi. It's free. As long as you got an internet connection, you can watch it. I might not be able to log into it right now. Because I ran into this with Spotify. I can't remember if it was here or I think it was out here. I was gonna log into Spotify and okay, no, I'm logged in here. I might be wrong, but I thought it was on here. You know, all of these ones, and I get it, they're free. I'm not trying to be a total douche about it, but all of these could learn a really valuable lesson from YouTube, which is also free, and put a history of what you've recently watched. Because I can't remember if I watched it in here. And they don't have a category for what I'm looking for. Okay, that ain't working. Maybe it was on YouTube. If that's the case, I ain't gonna see it right now. Let's see. Because it's what I'm doing now. I did a general search for UFOs. I was kind of half awake. I thought I might go back asleep. Give me 1 second. Give me a second. I'm gonna find something to have on in the background. I think I ended up watching it because I couldn't get Spotify working. You know, because I just basically wanted to log into it, and they gave you like a couple different ways. None of them, and I think it was probably me, but none of them seemed to be working. Yeah, I'll see if I can find it later. See if I got something good. Come on. And but I was watching this thing, and it was a relative. I mean, it might have been 5 years old, but it wasn't like from the 70s. You know, it wasn't from like 20, 30 years ago. But it was this UFO thing, and again, depending on how old you are, you might not remember this, but there is a hang on. Anyways, it was one. Like I said, I don't think it was recent. Didn't look like it was recent. But there was this guy. This was back in the 90s, and back in the 90s, and it came out. It was you gotta think this was before the. I'm pretty sure this came out before the internet. I think this came out a couple years before the internet, and Fox News had it. At one point, might have been before Fox News got it, it was a pay-per-view event where you could watch, I think you could just watch the documentary, but Fox News, I think they were the ones that did it. They had a whole thing on this, and the guy who played Riker in Star Trek The Next Generation, again, ask your grandparents, they can explain this to you if you don't know what it is. But it was the guy who played Will Riker, Commander Riker, in the Next Generation Star Trek, and I can't think of his name. And he hosted it, and it was a black and white autopsy. It was supposedly the autopsy of the Roswell aliens. And what it was, I can't tell you off the top of my head the backstory to it, but the story came out, I think it was like the Majestic 12 and some of the other stuff where it wasn't found officially. It was like mailed to somebody. I think that's where it was. Because I might be 100% wrong here. I don't know. I'm not. I'm maybe 60% sure. It's been a while, and I just got lunched on some, a little fucking lightheaded from the activity. But I think I'm clear enough to actually do this. Might end up losing my hardcore character fucking around, but I'm gonna try. And it's like yesterday, I was trying to do something yesterday, and after a while, I'm just like, man, I can't play. It was Diablo 4, I think. I'm like, I can't play this. I'm gonna end up fucking and or getting pissed, but I think it got sent to him, and then he took it, and basically got it ready for this. I don't think he claims he knew where he got it from, and all this. And the funny thing is, I've heard this said in the past, not before I watch this, or not after I watch this, but before I watched this, like years ago, decades ago, that, there was somebody that said, they go, well, I really doubt it's a hoax. And they go, well, why? And they go, well, if it was a hoax, it'd probably be better. It's real shitty copy. And at the time, they were talking to people who had done that kind of work in the military. Because they brought in people, and these were people who did that job. When they worked in, I don't know if they necessarily documented any classified shit, but these were people, former military. They had the record that they used to film shit like this for the military. And the one thing the guy said, he was really old dude. He goes, look, he went into a little bit what his career was, like what he'd done. And he said, you got to understand, when you are working for the military, he goes, you don't see any former military documentary people, taking over in Hollywood. He goes, you just don't. Steven Spielberg, Oliver Stone, George, none of these guys were like military documentary filmers, because he said, it's not preparing you for a career in Hollywood. He goes, you are there to document an event. You are not there to entertain anybody. You are not there to win like the Nobel Peace Prize for scientific discovery. I'm adding that in, but he's like, you are there to film an event. Doesn't matter how boring it is, you are there. And he said, I can tell you, he goes, from my experience, and I think he might have been a little bit after that, but he was from around that time. Like I said, he was pretty old at this time. And he said that is consistent with maybe not everyone, but the majority of the people who did that job. It's just the way it is, He goes, you got to catch everybody. You got to film it. You're not filming it for a. He goes, you're not filming this to be used in a trial. Nothing like that. You're just not. And so he watched, and he basically said, yeah, that's consistent, with what happened. And he got just nitpicked. And again, even though you had the experts, you had the people who actually knew the job, unlike the critics, they knew the job that those people were supposed to do for the military. And but he got taken down. And the thing that I did, like with me watching some of the JFK stuff that recently went on, when you look at the only, I want to stress this, the only fucking trial that was ever brought for somebody that had killed the president. It was in New Orleans. You had career prosecutors who, when there was this one where they were talking about that, and they said, look, you got to understand, they go, a DA like that, that's like a top position. The only one higher than a DA is the fucking Attorney General of the state. And he said, you generally don't see them bring a case unless they got evidence. You just don't see it. And,
need more time. Need more arcane power.
And so, like, my thing is, and again, because I started looking at it through a broader lens, and I'm thinking, well, you know, if the government would cover up a UFO, they would definitely cover up a presidential assassination. And I started seeing a lot of similarities between the JFK assassination and like the UFO cover-ups. I did one where I was talking about this documentary that was made. It was made around the time Oliver Stone shot the JFK movie with Kevin Costner and a whole bunch of other top talent in Washington. And and you take a look at what went on in that, and like they did an update to it where they were talking about it like 20, 30 years after that movie was made. They looked at everything again, and they also, I think it was made in like 2021, and they were looking at some of the documents that were released as part of that presidential review board into it. And and there've been other, it wasn't just a one-trick pony with this. There's been other things that they've done where they've gotten a hold of the records, and it is pretty clear. Even like congressional hearings that they've had, because I think they've had like 2 of them since the Warren Commission. Like they had one back in the 90s, and then they had one a little more recently. And I think it's been pretty well established that there were things that were hidden from the Warren Commission. I think it was pretty much established that the Warren Commission was fucking lied to.
I am unstoppable.
You got to ask yourself, well, why was it like Arlen Specter and others hiding stuff from them? And you had people that, you know, because there were people that had, you know, when the one, it was a smoking gun, they looked, they go, oh my God, this is a real credible witness. Why wasn't this person called in? And the best that they could find it, everything pointed to people like Arlen Specter. There were 2 or 3 of them. They kept certain things from the commission. Like the military guy that was going to testify that he was given a direct order to falsify X-rays of the evidence. You know, there was a, I don't know if it was Kennedy or something else, but he was basically told to falsify the evidence.
You dare attack
and
me?
you know, and just, you know, I don't want to get into that because I've done enough on the JFK one. Well, there's a lot of that goes on with the UFO thing, where you take a look at Bob Lazar. I am pretty sure somebody went through and scrubbed his fucking records. There was things scrubbed around the JFK. So you see all this. Well, in this documentary, and I was kind of hoping this one was, but it isn't. They interviewed the guy that made the movie, or the one. Made might be the wrong word. He's the one who released the documentary. And there was stuff that he said, and I kind of wanted to watch it because I kind of wanted to go over it and, you know, get it a little fresh, because I saw it a couple days ago. And it's been really, I needed time to process it. And
prepare for a long fight.
the fuck? Yeah, the same fucking dipshits that screwed up the difficulty on Diablo 4 must have done it here, too. And there's things that this guy said, and I can't give you a complete list, but it seems to me that it was about half of what he said I've gotten from other sources. And one of the, because he was pretty much discredited. And again, like I said, special effects people, they go, I can't believe this was manufactured. And they go, why? They go, well, if somebody was going to make it, I think they'd make it a lot better. This is something Bob Lazar said the one time. He's like, look, people think I'm lying. He goes, I'm pretty sure I could make up a better story than what we've got here. And but this guy talked about, and I can remember like at least one of them, but he talked about all the stuff that he said had come out since he had been discredited. And he goes, stuff is starting to come out now that's backing up the fact that that was a real video. And the and this is the thing I will remember, like I mentioned it to my brother, and he kind of laughed when I told him, but you know, Lou Elizondo, he's a guy that when he first hit the scene, when he was first coming out for UFO, you know, disclosure, he was featured on either 60 Minutes or 2020, one of the big weekend news shows. And the guy that was interviewing him, I don't remember which guy it was, he was talking to him, and Lou Elizondo told him, you know, in general details, like an outline for him, what they were going to be talking about. And, you know, he said this, that, and the other thing, and then the guy looked at me and goes, something along the lines, well, you know, it won't offend you if I say that that sounds crazy. And Lou Elizondo's comment was, I'm not saying it doesn't sound crazy, I'm telling you that it's true. And, you know, and
I don't have enough
the other thing
arcane
he said,
power.
now this was in an interview that he did on the podcast Theory of Everything, Kurt something or other. I highly, you know, I can't tell you what you're going to watch or whatever. Some of his stuff I'm not that interested in, but the stuff he does on UFOs is downright interesting.
I'll be telling stories
And
about that for a
he
while.
interviewed Lou 2 or 3 times. I think he had Lou. He does a pretty good job, and I think Lou appreciated it, and that's why he was willing to go on the show. Because Lou basically said he was going to get out of doing the interviews because there were so many of the people he did interviews, they were clearly nuts. They clearly didn't know anything. It's like when you see these people on the far left bitching about Israel sticking up for fucking Hamas and stuff. This is the danger of lies on the internet. I'm not kidding you. You know, you got, because I used to basically just start deleting shit when I was using Facebook. I would just delete shit off of it. When these fucking delusional fucking wingnuts would come in and put their fucking conspiracy theories up, if it was somebody I knew and kind of had some respect for, I would try to correct it for him. And there was a couple people I thought they were really good people. I mean that sincerely, but man, they were fucking nuts. I worked with a guy like an old Vietnam vet, same way, on almost anything you wanted to talk about this guy with. He was a good guy, absolutely a good guy. You got him talking about politics. This was about as this guy was as deranged as the fucking Unabomber. He really was. He, the only thing that saved the world from his shit is he just, I think he used up all his courage in Vietnam, and he wasn't willing to go to